Rahma, thanks for joining me on this episode. It's really nice having you.
It is my pleasure. Like some of my friends are beyond friends. They are part of me. They are my whole. I can bluntly call them family now. I want to talk about African context. And of course, there is part of our identity that exists independently from our family influence, probably because of external factors like other secondary agents of socialization.
Welcome back to Understanding Our Social World, the podcast where we explore the forces that shapes us as individuals and our society. I am your host, Colin Agawadi, and today we'll be tackling a topic that is as old as humanity itself, the family, in shaping who we are. The family is often described as the building block of our society, but have we ever stopped to ask ourselves how much of who we are is a result of the families we come from? Are we truly independent beings, or are we deeply shaped by the social dynamics of our family structures? In Africa, beyond its nuclear units, family is a network of relatives, neighbors, elders, who together influence identity, culture, and values. This unique essence of family is not just a lens to understand our past, but also a guide as we think about the future. This conversation is about reflecting. It is about asking the necessary questions that will help us understand how better to raise the next generation. What values should we pass down? And how do the lessons we learn within our families prepare us or fail to prepare us for the larger social world? Today, I am joined by Ozomarisi Rahma Ozomarisi. She is a social scientist, a penultimate year student of mass communication with a deep interest in the subject matter, the family. And together, we will explore these questions and more. We will discuss the family's cultural, emotional, and social imprints and the challenges it faces in our rapidly evolving world, and how we can intentionally shape a better future through a family. Whether you are a parent, a child, or someone reflecting on your role within your family, or your family's role upon you, this episode is just for you. Let's question, reflect, and deconstruct the role of family in shaping our social realities and ultimately the next generation. Rahma, thanks for joining me on this episode. It's really nice having you.
It is my pleasure. It is nice.
Okay, now let's begin with the first question. So, what does the concept of family mean to you, especially in an African context? And how do you think African family structure differs from other global perspectives?
Well, family is beyond anybody that is related by blood. Family can be an outsider or a friend who can go extra miles for you to advise to achieve a particular aim. Like some of my friends are beyond friends. They are part of me. They are my whole. I can bluntly call them family now. I want to talk about African context. The family is often broader and more inclusive than the traditional nuclear family definition. Family is beyond nuclear in Africa. Family consists of multi-generational living together, um, close in proximity and involved in community development. So the African concept of family is possessed by a strong sense of community, collective responsibility, and spiritual protection. So African family structure is beyond just me, my husband, and it is beyond that. The main structure between family from other global perspective, from African perspective, is the issue of collectivism and individualism. African emphasize on collective family interest for the benefits of all and shared responsibilities. While Western focuses on individualism, personal freedom and nuclear family units. Mm, that is Joseph.
I'll be coming back to individualism and collectivism beyond, because the global perspective. In fact, even within your family itself, there are even people you cannot really call them family that is within global perspective. For example, your extended family are not really part of your family that per se, you understand, practically. But in Africa, based on what you said, even someone who is not related to you by blood can also be part of your family, in as much
Exactly.
as that person is actually contributing to your well-being, contributing to your success, giving you, treating you as part of your family. And that's actually a very, very nice perspective. So that will take us to the second question. How much of who we are as individuals is shaped by our family? And do you think that there is a part of our identity that exists independently of family influence?
Yeah, like this where socialization comes in. Family structure tend to process the learning, internalizing the norms, values, and behaviors of society and culture. It is how we become aware and learn to navigate rules, ethics, and principles of our social world. This process often starts from birth and continue throughout our journey in life. It is like a nurturing process. So I can say 50% of our values, behaviors are being influenced by our genetics, which is inherited from our family. Our personality, values, and behaviors are shaped by our family environment. A child observes, imitates family members, dressing, interacting, emotional regulation, and intelligence. And of course, there is part of our identity that exists independently from our family influence, probably because of external factors like other secondary agents of socialization. Of course, we watch television. Of course, we interact and communicate with the outside world. So all those perspectives can actually change our ideology towards a particular topic or the way we behave.
Sometimes there can even be some kind of situation whereby the impact of this secondary socialization agent actually outweighs the
The
family's
family.
influence itself.
Yeah.
Because I've actually seen a lot of people whereby it was peer pressure that actually, the influence of peer pressure that actually outweighed the influence the family had upon them. Or it might not really be that the family had that kind of influence on them actually, or it might not necessarily be that the parents actually invested the way it is actually, the way they ought to when it comes to like child upbringing, which actually made the foundation to be so weak that they become more vulnerable to peer pressure and among other stuff like that. So that's actually a very, very important point. The family has a very great impact on who we truly are. And at the same time, the external factors actually have some certain percentage, which actually depends on, on the foundation itself. You understand? If the foundation is not strong, then the building that will be built upon it will actually might actually lead to its collapse. You understand? So that
Yes.
is actually very important, like you said. Now, do you think families in modern African societies still hold the same influence as they did in the past? If no, what is responsible for the changes? And if yes, what is responsible for its resistance?
Well, families in modern African societies may not hold the same level of influence as they did in the past due to factors like urbanization and modernization. The world is actually evolving. So, new exposure to education and media, especially this media, it has the tendency to change our perspective in some cultural aspects. The media is a great influence. Yeah, definitely it is. It tends to change our towards perspective that we have before. Then westernization and cultural exchange can shape and lead to changes in traditional family system. Another perspective is the human rights, individual freedom. Yes, the world, like I said, the world is revolving. So people are now conscious of their rights. They are now conscious of individual freedoms. Growing this factor can lead to increase in autonomy and reduce family influence. Okay, this is me. I know what I want. I am now an adult. I know what is good for me. So all these factors contribute to the complex and dynamic nature of family influence in Southern Africa.
Like you said, the thing is, in this modern world, people are getting more aware of their rights, and people are getting more intoxicated by the zeal for freedom. I want to be free, which I would rather call the tyranny of freedom. You understand? So, but the thing is that, like you said, the thing is, the influence of family on us as individuals is actually reducing. You understand? Because of
Yeah.
a lot of factors like urbanization, the human rights, whatever, the freedom itself, the dream to be free, the freedom that doesn't necessarily exist, you understand? So like these are actually some of the things that actually cuts or limits or reduce the influence of African society or family in what in our modern African societies. And as we can see, it is actually a wind that is coming from the west down to our own African culture. Family often provide emotional and social support, but
Yes.
can also be a source of pressure. You understand? How do you think individuals can actually balance these, like these, the pressure part and the emotional and support part?
Well, balancing pressure with family influence can be so tiring. But the with the help of maintaining open communication, setting boundaries, it is very necessary to acknowledge the benefits of family support, acknowledge the benefits. Then while doing that, you also have to maintain your own personal autonomy and growth and emotions. And secondly, learning effective ways to manage conflict and challenges can also help individuals navigate family pressures and maintaining healthy relationships with them. Recognizing and accepting individual differences and interests can help family members understand and support each other unique needs and goals. Yes.
With globalization and urbanization, how do you think the role of family, the role of African family is evolving? And what are the potential risks and rewards to this evolution?
Okay. The evolution of African family role is evolving, like you said, due to globalization and urbanization, leading to changes in family structures, values, and dynamics. The potential risk is very disheartening, to be honest. Like the old family values tend to wash away, then increase in individualism, which is often termed as Western ideology instead of collectivism. Then respect and the general ideas of traditional setting tend to decline. Yeah, because of urbanization and globalization, and the potential rewards can actually generate a good access to greater autonomy and personal freedom of individuals, definitely. Then globalization and urbanization can enhance cultural exchange and diversity, enriching African culture and promoting cultural understanding.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I would like to chip in a few things there. One thing I've actually observed over time is about the fact that those rewards, they are not really rewards. It is a kind of illusion. Like, for example, now, when you talk of exchanging cultural identity, exchanging all this kind of stuff, exchanging like cultural identity with people, how many of the people do we interact with that we actually sincerely exchange cultural identity, like cultural knowledge and stuff like that? We actually talk about things that actually affect us well-being. You understand? We actually talk about a lot of some other things that in fact, who cares about culture now? Only a few people cares about culture. So like some of those benefits, some of those things we think as benefits is actually more of an illusion. Okay, yeah, those are possible benefits, but they are not the actual benefits people are actually getting from the issue of globalization and urbanization. And in fact, the major risk is about the fact that the essence of parents, the essence of family is being reshaped in such a way that, now, when we interact with our parents, you can see the kind of environment that breeds them. You understand? Which is outside the influence of globalization. It is something that has to do with collectivism, whereby an outsider seeing you doing something, you understand, seeing you doing something bad, it is as good or it is as bad as your parents seeing you doing something good or bad, you understand? So that is actually so actually there's actually more risk in terms of globalization and urbanization as it impacts African family than its benefit itself, its actual benefit itself, outside the illusion of benefits that people usually talk about, you understand. But then our acting is very important and it is a little bit philosophical. Is there a such thing as too much family influence?
Yes, there is. Honestly, there is. Because especially when family member are actually overstepping their boundaries, they tend to influence everything that is kind of beneficial, even if it is not even beneficial to the member. You get? Then they try to impose that rules. Yes, you must do it. There is too much family influence, especially when they are overstepping the decisions and boundaries you created to navigate life. Family influence can be beneficial, though, providing emotional support, guidelines, and a sense of belonging. But the excess of it can actually cause mental health disorder. Trust me. Okay, here are instances that family influence might be considered as too much or excessive. Number one is overprotection, especially when it comes to female. I have this ideology that the tendency not to go out of the family values, because we tend to interact with the outside world. We go to school, we leave our parents and go to other states to school, right? Um,
Yeah.
we have social media that actually influence some of our thoughts concerning a particular topic. So there is this tendency that us not going out of our family values sometimes comes within us to 40% because of the external factors. Then okay, sometimes family members can actually set unrealistic expectations, probably to follow the laid down rules of the house or profession. Okay, let us use this as a practical example. A family where all the children are being told to navigate the same phase of life, which is usually profession. Just because the firstborn is studying law, the other children should follow. What if the other children are not interested in studying law, but have this passion of exploring other fields? Like, how are you going to say it? Definitely, there is too much of family influence. Then this too much can be excessive, yes, and which can actually lead to anxiety and depression and strain relationship with other family members. So family influence is sometimes you can actually categorize it as excessive in nature when it is overstepping boundaries. Yes. And creating this kind of fear, emotional, pressure and all.
That overprotection, it is so real. And
Yeah,
some no, yeah, it is also real. And some point in time, like at times, I do feel when I see some families overprotecting their children, their family members, I do feel that kind. When I look into their face, I do feel like these people are actually very, very sincere with what they are doing, and like they are really emotional about what they are doing. But when you protect something too much, it can actually get spoiled. It can actually get spoiled, and that is actually very, very important. So we're going to move to the next question.
all
And
right.
what do you think, or do you think there are ways for individuals to retain positive aspects of their family influence while forging their unique path?
Yeah. Individuals can actually forge their unique paths while still retaining positive family influence. Number one, by cultivating a growth mindset. You should know what you want. You should know what you need. You are an adult. You should know what is good for you while maintaining open communication. Because I have this rule that communication clarifies misunderstanding. When you learn to open up and communicate, you tend to clear some stuff that might affect the relationship or strain the relationship between you and the family. So open communication often helps very well, like very well. Then secondly, setting boundaries. Setting boundaries and still respecting the family ideology is very important. It can also help in in shaping who you are and still maintaining that family influence. Yes. Then stepping out of your comfort zone sometimes and can real individuals to develop, this kind of confidence. Yes. And a sense of autonomy. I can actually do this on my own and still respect the family ideology. So this particular question is based on my own principle and my family's principle. With combining both perspectives together, I'll be able to achieve this particular aim. So the key to that is definitely open communication. When you learn how to communicate, you will learn how to clarify things.
That's very open conversation is actually very, very important. Like you said, communication is the solution to every problem, almost every problem, because
Yeah.
problems actually arises from the fact that we fail to communicate,
Yeah.
or either we fail to communicate our expectation or our goals properly, or we are communicating them wrongly, you understand, in the wrong manner. That's actually very, very important. And also, some really, what I can say is that, okay, how can I use the training, the training that my parent has given me to actually achieve what I want? You get, so I feel like that is actually one of the important ways in which we can actually blend the two together. That is our own unique part as well as the family principles, the family goals, and the family influence. So that is actually, thank you for that important point. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you were to define the role of the family in shaping individuals, what would you prioritize?
Well, definitely, I've been mentioning the idea of mental health because in Africa it seems we don't value this mental health of the stuff. There's the way we used to sideline any topic that concerns mental health. So if I were to redefine the role of family in shaping individuals, honestly, I would consider emotional support and validation for mental health support in every decision. The family should learn to consider the mental health of every members before making a quick. Then encouraging individuality and autonomy. Like an adult should know what is good for him or herself. Let them have this kind of exposure that will make them to learn, to unlearn and relearn. Then definitely I'll preserve the cultural heritage, ethics and values, but in line with the mental health of every individual. There are some values that doesn't, strive from them and ensuring the flexibility and adaptability of families, embracing changes. I feel like, especially in most African communities, there is this kind of rigidity. They don't want to, embrace adaptability and embrace changes. You have to
They
be
don't want to be
flexible.
flexible.
You have to be flexible to challenges as opportunities for growth and being exposed to more ideology. Yes.
You raised a very, very important point. First of all, mental health, that is actually very, very important. And in fact, the importance of mental health cannot be understated. Like, you cannot understate that. You cannot downplay that. It's actually very, very important. And then we'll move to our next question. Well, the second to the last question for today. And that is about your own personal story, your own experience. Could you share your personal story where your family played a significant role in shaping who you are?
Growing up with other siblings, most of them were science oriented students. When I decided to go for arts, yeah, they supported me. They gave me the support I really needed. Then they knew we had individualistic choices because the elders, the elders is are the part of being a science oriented student. doesn't mean I have to follow that particular part. They gave me the support and advice. Now I am studying mass communication, which is my dream. I'm glad they didn't influence my choice. Rather, they gave their support. So individual has this unique interest, strength, and passion. So them respecting my decision, definitely they taught me self-discovery. I discovered myself, I discovered my passion and independence to make choice and unconditional support.
There are some parents, like there was an example you cited, which I've actually seen before, whereby they want
Okay.
all the children to law. And that is because the father is actually is a lawyer, is a barrister, you understand? And they just want all the kids, all their children to actually follow that same path. And honestly, that is actually very, very bad when it comes to as family, as parents, you need to give your children and your family members the support they need to actually make the decision about their own life themselves, you understand? That is actually very, very important. And the last question for this episode, the last question for this episode, if you were to give advice to families on how to best nurture individuals without stifling their uniqueness, what would it be?
Hmm. Let me start from open communication that I have been emphasizing on. You see, when it comes to open communication, most of African parents do not give room for that. You get that is why I
Yeah,
said for us to have this kind of free flow of independence, we must navigate the practice of open communication. We should learn how to communicate with our parents, even us as part of family members. We should learn how to interact. Okay, this is my principle. This is your principle. I don't want this. I don't want this. Yes. Then, like I said, open communication clarifies misconceptions, definitely. Then communication is next to clarity. When you communicate, you clarify some stuff. Some communication that actually definitely cause problems in the future. Then, secondly, respect individual differences and interests. Just because child A must child A is studying medicine, then you want child B to follow the same path. No, let individuals, let them have their own passion. Let them make their own decision, especially when it comes to education. Yes, let them discover their uniqueness, access to their skills and ideologies. This is in line with actually still in line with the principle, like the family principle. But then give a room for flexibility. Let other people exercise their right and freedom. So that is the advice I would definitely give to families who are ready to nurture individuals. Yeah, without shifting their identity, especially in this 21st century, because the world is revolving every day, everything, new technology, new exposure. Yeah.
yeah, that's actually, those are wonderful piece of advice
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you're actually giving to families on how to best nurture individuals without actually limiting their potentials, their uniqueness, and among others. That is actually very, very important. And yeah, as we bring this episode to a close, one thing that actually remains clear is that family plays a key role in shaping who we are. It is within our families that we first learn about love, about responsibility, about trust, and even about conflict. These experiences becomes the foundation upon which we build our identities and navigate our social world. But as we discussed here today, the family is a source of influence and a guide for the future. The questions we ask about the values we pass down and the lessons we impart on the next generations are very, very critical. Families, especially within the African context, carry the responsibility of preserving culture, fostering growth, and preparing individuals to engage meaningfully with society. So, our listeners, I actually encourage you to reflect on the role your family has played in your journey, how it has shaped your worldview, and what legacy you want to leave behind for those who come after you as you begin to establish your family. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you have opinions about what we've discussed here today, I would love to hear your thoughts. You can share with us, you can share reflection with us on our platform on the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or you can connect with me directly so we can keep this dialogue going. This is a podcast where each of your opinions matters to us. They also matters to the larger audience out there. Sister Rahma, thanks for joining us. It is really nice having you, and your opinion, your perspective has really been amazing so far. It's nice having you on this podcast. This has been Understanding Our Social World. Until next time, I am Khalid Ayawade, reminding you to keep questioning, keep learning, and keep building the social world you want to see. Take care and see you in the next episode.